will this end?
Ben Simmons is going to get traded. It was always going to end this way, Skip, after the playoff debacle in which they lost to the Atlanta Hawks. Ben Simmons, one field goal attempt in the fourth quarter over the last 6 games of the series. And after Doc Rivers said what he said after Game 7, after Joel Embiid said what he said after Game 7, I came in here that Monday and I said, Skip, he's going to get traded. He's out of there. I said, there's no way. You ask the head coach, do you believe you could? Now, here's your all-star point guard. You mentioned, you know all the accolades in which he possessed, Skip.
Yeah.
And you was like, I can't answer that right.
We should see that right now, and then you can continue. Let's see what Doc answered.
You better lie.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe he can. I believe Ben will continue to work to get better. And yes, we can be a championship team, even if you don't believe it.
I agree.
You got to say the thing.
I agree.
Because once you said that, you're the head coach. And then Joel Embiid follows it up. Like, when did you feel the momentum shift? Well, I felt it shifted when we had a layup and we ended up getting 1 point.
Since you brought that up, let's see that.
And so, Skip, from that moment on, I knew there's no way that Ben Simmons was going to come back. The only thing that I hope is that Ben Simmons remain professional. I know he said he's not going to show up and he has no intention. I get that. But remain professional, Ben. Go to camp. Be professional. I know it's going to be hard.
Oh, you want him to go?
Yeah, Skip. Because, Skip, I don't want... Look, here's the thing. I believe both parties want to move on. But the 76ers are perfectly content letting Ben Simmons take the PR hit. Because behind the scenes, they've been talking about this. There have been little things leaking out over the last couple of years. Ben Simmons could possibly be traded, yada, yada, yada. Ben Simmons made it abundantly clear. I believe he believes that you've hitched your wagon to Joel Embiid.
Yep.
There is not room for the both of us. And so I think the best thing for the both of us to do is to part ways. The Sixers are perfectly content now, Skip, because who's getting all the PR bad here? It's Ben Simmons. The Sixers like, oh, we want him. Deep down inside, we don't want him. But we want him. We believe we can win a championship. He's a vital piece of our organization. He was a part of the rebuilding, the process. No, we don't. We're trying to trade him. We're trying to maximize the value. But here's the thing, Skip. Once he said what he said, and the teams know that you're trying to get rid of him, they know he doesn't want to be there, Skip. Why am I going to pay you maximum value for something, Skip, when I know you got to get rid of it? I'm going to sit back and like chill. Hey, you have to take pennies on the dollars for this, bro, or it's going to be terrible while he's there. So for me, Skip, Ben, you're going to have to take a deep look at yourself too now, bro. At some point in time, you're going to have to get better, exponentially better if you want to be a great player. It's not good enough, and people need to stop telling him, Ben, you don't need to be able to shoot a jump shot. He's the point guard. He's not a center. He's the point guard. He's going to have the ball in his hands the lion's share of the time. He cannot become unplayable, Skip, late in ball games. He can't do that. Ben Simmons is not if, it's just a matter of when he moves on from the 76ers.
So, from the start, you have been down on Ben Simmons as a basketball player. His overall value you have questioned.
I don't believe and I haven't seen what you see. You believe he can be, but I haven't seen it.
I see superstar. I see can't replace. I see so much to love, as well as one small thing that can be fixed to be hated. And that is, he's got the demons in his head about the free throw line.
Right.
We've seen a lot of other stars get same demons. LeBron fights with them occasionally, but not to this level. At least LeBron, late in games, if it's just an absolute must, will risk going to the free throw line and shooting the free throws. He got to the point where his IQ is so high, he just said, I will go out of my way to avoid the late game free throw line.
Right.
To your point, that makes you unplayable because they're just going to hack a bin.
Correct.
Because they see it in your body language. You are going to shrink and shy from the free throw line. But I cannot, as the old saying goes, throw out the baby with the bathwater, because the bathwater might be foul, but the baby is super, and he's still an NBA baby.
Well, you better see, what kind of baby is it? Is it a baby tiger, a baby lion? Well, I'm going to get rid of him because I already know what it's going to grow up to be.
Okay. I'm going to reiterate to you, he won Rookie of the Year, which you actually endorsed on this show, over Donovan Mitchell, which I did not love, but he won it.
He won it. He did do that.
And then in each of his next 3 NBA years, he made the All-Star team.
Yes.
And in the last 2 years, he made first team all-defense. And 2 years ago, he led the whole league in steals at 6 feet 10 inches tall. He has averaged 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on his way to, at some point in his career, obviously, averaging a triple-double.
Yeah.
And all I know is that I did see that one game last February with no Embiid. They went to Utah. They did lose the game, but he got upset to the point of furious that Rudy Gobert was getting so much attention for Defensive Player of the Year, right?
Right.
So what happened? He goes out that night solo with no Embiid, and he scores 42 in Gobert's face, making 15 of 26 shots, 9 rebounds, and 12 assists while going from the free throw line 12 out of 13. You can't tell me he's not capable of making free throws. Any human who can go into an NBA game and make 12 out of 13 has the capability to be a decent free throw shooter in the league. Capability.
Okay, but here's the thing. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Tom Brady had only one come from behind victory. Would you still say the one guy I don't bet against is Thomas?
No.
Oh, exactly.
Well,
so he's had one of those games, and now you're saying you're willing to hit your
we're
wagon?
just talking about the potential to do. He's left-handed, obviously.
Right.
Just to do that. The stroke always looks nice to me.
Yes.
It looks solid. It looks like I could work with that.
But Skip,
it's in your head.
Okay, maybe
it's psychological. He needs deep therapy over this. He needs a shot doctor, as in Dr. Freud or Dr. Phil, right?
But what about, Skip, if he gets those things and just be elsewhere? Maybe it's a time for a change of scenery.
All right, I got you. But here's my issue. The more I've thought about this and slept on it, if I'm the Sixers right now, because I have such high regard for him, I'm not going to trade him. I'm especially not going to give him away, but I'm not going to give in to Rich Paul's demands. And I have complimented Rich Paul because he did the right thing for his player, because those are near bridge-burning quotes that we just saw. But then after I slept on it last night, I started thinking, was it not heat of moment? Was it not agony of defeat? Was it not you just got upset by the little upstarts from Atlanta at home in a Game 7?
Okay, I get that, Skip. I would give that.
How many things get said in anguish after a loss?
I would give you that had Doc Rivers been a first-year coach. Doc Rivers is a championship-winning coach.
You're right. I mean, that's fair. It's fair. I also think he's got such a silver tongue. He can be so persuasive, and he's already met with Ben at least once that I know of in the offseason, maybe more than once.
Right.
Can he not make amends? Can he not mend the fence over time if he'll just come to camp and try to get back into the good graces of the team and try to make it right?
I tell you another guy that said he didn't want to come, and he came to camp, and he says, I'm coming to camp, but I'm coming with the anticipation that you're going to trade me. That was one, Anthony Davis. And how did that end up?
Okay,
because Dale Demps thought that if I get him here, he's going to be around his guys. He was like, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Okay, question.
Yes.
Was that New Orleans team the 1 seed in the West that year?
No.
Guess what Philly was last year? They were the 1 seed in the East, so something was okay, right?
Yes.
Something was real okay.
But I think the thing is, Skip, I believe you have a higher value placed on Ben Simmons than the Sixers have placed on him.
I don't know about that, because I have a very high-placed source there who just 2 years ago told me that all the way up to the top, to the ownership, that they favor Ben Simmons over Joel Embiid for the long haul. And you know all of Joel's injury issues and stomach issues.
Right.
He's always got some issue going on.
Right.
Plus, he can be a little out there sometimes and a little hard to predict, like big mood swings from night to night, in it or not in it, like into it or not into it. So, again, Ben Simmons is completely even keel. Like he just goes out and again, he doesn't have high motor, but he's got steady motor, right? He just plays.
Okay.
Listen, for long stretches of the Atlanta series, he took poor little Trey right out of the action, right? He just envelops you with his length and his smarts and his athletic ability. He's subtle athlete. He's like a smooth athlete where it's not spectacular athleticism, but he is gifted at 6'10".
Okay.
So here's the other issue. Just a year ago, they gave him a max contract. It has 4 more years to go on it.
Yep.
Okay? So they committed to you, and I know it's become the new way of the world. James Harden or Anthony just says, I want out.
Right.
And the team just crumbles and bends over and just says, okay, what you got me.
Right.
You know, I'm done. I'm down on my knees for you. What do you want? Where do you want to go? Oh, you want to go to L.A.?
Yep.
Okay, we'll make it happen. I know they had to go through 2 rounds of that, but they made it happen. James, where do you want to go? How about Brooklyn? Oh, okay, we'll make that happen. I just got the feeling that the Sixers might be the first team to say, you know what? We gave him the money. He made the $33 million last year.
Right.
And we're going to keep paying him if he comes to camp.
Right.
And if he doesn't, you know what's going to happen? At some point, the NBA will step in and suspend him.
Right.
But at some point, they don't have to pay him. He does have one of those weird payout systems where they're like quarterly kind of payments. So it's like $8.3 million is not owed until October 1st.
Right.
But could they withhold their $8.3 on October 1st if he's not playing? Yes, they could.
But he's saying, guess what, Skip? If you trade me, I'm no longer on your books. That'll be somebody else's responsibility to pay me.
Okay.
Yes, you gave me the extension, but you wouldn't have to pay a dime of it because the 4-year kicks in this year. So you wouldn't have to worry. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but you've backed the Sixers into such a corner. They are classically damned if you do or damned if you don't. Because if you say, okay, we'll take the best offer on the table, well, that's damned if you do, because it's not going to be very good, to your point. And if you don't, you're going to have a very unhappy camper. Well, the next question is, how long will that camper hold out? What if the Sixers, for the first time in a long time in the NBA, just say, sorry, we got you for the next 4 years. If you want to stay at home, you can just stay at home.
Right.
How long would that last? Now we're into the psyche of Ben Simmons.
Right.
How long would he sit? Would he sit out a year and lose $33 million?
No, I don't believe he'll sit out, nor should he sit out. But he'll come to camp and he'll be like James Harden. It became abundantly clear James Harden was not happy in Houston. And after a while, they said, yeah, you're going to come. We're going to make you play.
Well, not only he came to camp after breaking all the COVID rules in Las Vegas and Atlanta, remember?
Yes.
And right away, he's completely out of bounds on the COVID protocol. So he was just daring that. And he came to camp, dare I say, a little heavy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he said, look, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to show you I do not want to be here. And eventually, the ownership said, you know what? We just can't have this guy around here because he doesn't want to be here, and it's starting to rub off. You remember what Boogie said about the situation, Skip Bayless? And a lot of other guys were complaining, so they ended up moving him out. It shouldn't have to get to this. You've made your point. You believe Joel Embiid is the guy that can lead you where you want to go. You would love to have Ben, but I believe in the back of their minds, Skip, Ben hasn't improved enough from where he was as a rookie. You keep giving me, yes, he was Rookie of the Year, but has he
3 straight All-Star teams?
Yeah.
Really? 2 straight defense, first team all defense? Really?
Since they've been keeping these stats, Ben Simmons set an NBA record for the worst free throw percentage shooting in the playoffs, 34%. Now, there have been some bad free throw shooters, from Ben Wallace to Chris Haley to Shaq to Will Chamberlain. He's worse than all of them. He's a point guard.
Okay, got the demons in his head, fixable on the couch. You got to put him on the couch.
Well, maybe the demons won't be in Sacramento. Maybe the demons won't be in Portland, and he'll be able to rid those demons.
I don't know. Would Rich Paul and Ben sign off on Sacramento? I'm not sure they would.
I mean, from what I've heard, is that any place other than Philly. So I don't know what other places they are in the NBA, but anywhere other than Philly.
Well, there are only 2 ways out to me that would be the deal that both will accept, and it would involve Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal, and that's it. I don't see any other way out of this mess that they're locked in, this game of chicken that they're locked in, except those 2 places, because those are 2 deal for deals where you would get back a semblance of what you're giving.
Skip, it's a situation where you know you should get rid of something. You know the longer you hold on to it,
I don't know that they know they want to get rid of it.
Skip,
does Daryl Morey think that?
Skip, there's been too much rumblings about possibly trading Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons has tired of hearing his name thrown up in trades.
Yep.
So now he's like, okay, since this has been going around over the last year, I'm going to put some people's feet to the fire.
Okay, but Daryl Morey didn't blast Ben Simmons after the loss.
No. Well, hey.
So he's the guy pulling the trigger, right? He's the guy in charge.
Skip, I would recommend, I would say if I could speak to Ben Simmons, which I can't, I would say, Ben, go to camp. Be professional. Professional doesn't mean you're just an NBA player. Professional is how you go about your business.
Okay.
Go about your business with the anticipation that they're going to do right by you because you're going to do right by them by showing up to camp and being professional. But I want to make it abundantly clear. I'm coming in here, Doc. I'm going to do what you ask me to do, but I want to be traded. Joel Embiid, don't F with me, bro. Daryl Morey, I want out.
Well, Embiid has said recently all the right things. Like he's tried to wave the peace flag to him, right?
When Joel Embiid was upset, what did he say? Remember the three people that will tell you the truth?
Yeah.
Angry people, kids, and drunk.
Yeah.
Now, Joel Embiid wasn't drunk. And he's not a kid, although
he's got a lot of kids.
Yeah, he has some kid-like behavior. But in that moment, he was just upset because he had lost a 7-game series, and it was on his home court, Game 7.
Correct. I got it. In the end, it's still all about the general manager and the owner. And I can tell you they will cling to one stat. And that stat says that in the 34 games that they have been without Ben Simmons over his tenure in Philadelphia, they're 17-17. Right. And in those 34, if you look at what happened to them defensively, they have averaged more than 5 points allowed a game more without Ben Simmons. Because he is a difference maker on the defensive end. Right. That has nothing to do with free throw shooting. You are dead right about everything you say about free throws. They have to get fixed. And I was slightly troubled that he was in such a free throw funk. He wouldn't even play for his Olympic team in Australia. And I think it had a lot to do with the free throw demons. Like, I don't want to have to go subject myself to this in the Olympics on the international stage again, right?
Skip, you mentioned, when you talk about Ben, you always mention the games in which he's played well. But you look at his best games, when he played well, who wasn't playing at all? Okay. So how do you move forward with that? You mentioned that 42-point game. Joel Embiid was a late scratch. You remember that playoff game against the Brooklyn Nets?
The Jared Dudley Memorial game? When Jared took a shot at him, he said, okay, watch this.
Yes. Who wasn't playing?
Joel was not important.
So
I got you, okay? So you can almost make an argument they've been a little better apart and a little better with Ben instead of Joel. You can make a case. Right. But again, together, they were the 1 seed.
Yes.
That's all the GM has to sit back and think, gee, maybe we should just dig in here and say, no, we're not going to trade you.
But what does it come down to, Skip? When you're dealing with two guys like that and they both believe they're superstars, eventually, Skip, Magic and Kareem would work because Magic was willing, Cap, what do you want? How do I make it?
Called him Cap.
Yes.
Called him captain,
Skip, when we get two guys and both are trying to I'm the dog, it's me. Eventually, what's going to happen? They got to go their separate ways. And Ben Simmons is like, I believe you've shown favoritism towards Joel Embiid. I believe you've done things to say, this is Joel Embiid's team. It's time for me to go. And even if I don't have my own team, I want to be away from here.
Okay. Bottom line to this, it could come down to this. What if the Sixers do dig in and just say, I'm sorry, if you don't want to play, just go home and we're not going to pay you. And the NBA is going to suspend you at some point. No,
I'm going to get paid.
Well, let's do the hypothetical.
Okay.
Think about this. How long would Ben Simmons sit? Would he sit for the whole year and lose the 33?
No.
Here's my point. He's different. His mindset is different than a lot of players where I don't know that he needs basketball to be happy. Like, if we go back to Magic and Bird, they just live to hoop, you know, I'm going to play. So if you tell them you got to sit out a whole year, they're going to say, I'm sorry, I can't do that, right?
No.
They're not made that way. But he strikes me as the kind of young man who's very stubbornly proud, very high principled. That's why he's standing by his principles on this. Like, they wronged me, so I got to go.
Okay.
But the point is, he might stand on his principles so strongly, he might be the kind who would sit a whole year and then force the trade next summer.
I don't believe he has great representation with Rich Paul, and I believe Rich Paul will advise against sitting out, leaving $33 million on the table. I just believe, Skip.
It wouldn't help Rich.
Right, but my thing is, Skip, is that I'm going to go to camp, And
Okay.
I'm going to be professional, but I've made it abundantly clear. And when reporters ask me, I've made it clear to them. They know what my stance is. I prefer to be elsewhere.
Okay.
Anytime anybody asks me, I prefer to be elsewhere.
Okay. Well, if leading up to the trade deadline, Dame comes available or Bradley Beal comes available.
Oh, no. Whoa. Hold on. That's in the middle of the season.
That's what I'm saying.
Man, I ain't trying to wait
I'm
that long.
saying that it may take that long for this to reach the fruition that the Sixers would get fair market value back.
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do? Who the owner? I'm parking my car in this spot every day.
Josh Harris.
Okay, Josh Harris. You would find one of the other parking spots. Because
Really?
Ben Simmons, I'm going to back my Ferrari right in your spot.
Really?
Every day.
I think you just got suspended.
Wait, hey.
Yep. Well, here we go.
Every day.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.